Get her out.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. The highly anticipated debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is over. And some would say it was a handicap match. It was a 3 against 1. It was the moderators, Dave, shoulder pads, Kamala Harris against Donald Trump. And across the board, across the intro webs, people are saying this was a horrible showing for ABC and the moderators being so freaking biased.
The big takeaway from this is not going to be about Trump, who still remains Trump. And it's really not going to be about Harris, who performed the best I think it's possible for Kamala Harris to perform, which is to say she was fairly obnoxious. She lied a lot. She said a lot of things that were untrue. She was never called on any of that. The big takeaway is going to be the continued destruction of the legacy media on behalf of the Democratic Party. The legacy media have decided, full scale, they are now apparatchiks of the Democratic Party. They are so far up Kamala Harris's ass that they're doing active colonoscopies with their eyeballs. It's unbelievable watching David Muir ask questions to Donald Trump like, why are you so bad and orange and mean? And then turning to Kamala Harris and saying, and why is he so bad and orange and mean? It's absolutely insipid and totally insane. The media tonight were beyond the worst expectations that I had for them.
We know that ABC, the person who runs ABC, is close friends with Kamala Harris. So it was a straight up handicap match.
So I am absolutely disgusted by what we just witnessed. First of all, shame on those two moderators. Mercedes, it's great to be with you. But what we saw, I believe, was a $5 billion or so culmination in creating this illusion that Kamala Harris is somehow a competent, thoughtful, decent person. She lied incessantly. The faces, the nonsense. She had, for what Democrats will consider this a successful night, I believe. Mm-hmm. But the truth, and I think God knows otherwise, this lying hustler.
Man, after watching this debate and listening to Kamala Harris talk,
Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
You know, she sounded really nasally, and it was fairly annoying to listen to her speak. And God help us if we have to listen to this woman speak for 4 years.
Well, I think the most important part was that he actually spoke for the 80+ million Americans, probably 90+ million Americans, if things go well, that are going to vote for him. But also for many of the Americans who may even disagree with some of his positions. They don't want to stay out of World War III. I think Donald Trump spoke really clearly to the fact that Kamala Harris's words pale in comparison to his actions in securing peace. We were on the brink of war with North Korea, kept us out of it. Avoided 2 major wars that we're now in, Russia, Ukraine, what's going on in the Middle East. And so I think he really landed that. As far as it goes to holding Kamala Harris's feet to the fire, you had muted mics in each direction. That's the job of the moderators. And particularly one of the two moderators, I thought, did a disastrous job today in feigning fact checks of Donald Trump without remotely even appearing to apply those same standards to Kamala Harris. But I do trust the voters, Trace. They've been tricked by the media before. I think many voters are now attuned to that. And so what we may see is that may actually backfire in a counterintuitive way where people feel like Donald Trump's being set up.
The entire line of questioning throughout this debate was heavily favored towards Kamala Harris. They did ask her about her flip-flopping on some of her policies. And the answer that she gave, to be honest, guys, like, it didn't make me feel unburdened for what has been.
Fortunately, we had moderators who were clearly biased, who were constantly fact-checking Donald Trump. None of these kind of whoppers that the vice president was saying, and none of her failure to really explain that, answer that first question, that very, very critical first question. They simply sat there on the sidelines and allowed that to pass.
Vice President Harris was asked if she believes Americans are better off now than they were 4 years ago. And frankly, as you pointed out, she didn't answer the question. She instead pivoted to talk about, in broad brushstrokes, some of the policies that she's highlighting: small business tax credits, down payment assistance for home buyers, an expanded child housing. And the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support
to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children.
Two things. A, it sounds like she has mad cotton mouth. Okay. And secondly, your administration did all the things that you just mentioned. Bonus, you can fix it now. And get this, the first half of the debate, you would not guess how many times the moderators interrupted Donald Trump. It was 8 times. 8 times they interrupted him.
You talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get.
I don't understand it, but I think we're going to do very well.
Please. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? Please. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
I wonder how many heads that went over, because she did that to Mike Pence in her debate with Mike Pence during the vice president debate. This debate in totality was for people that were on the fence about who they're going to vote for. And in the end, a lot of people are saying that Kamala Harris failed to answer questions and move the needle forward to sway people into her party, which essentially is leading them into Donald Trump's party.
I think it's important to remember that we are voting for the leader of our country and not who we like the most or who we want in our wedding party, but who is actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before, and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
Facts. Life was better when Donald Trump was in office. Interest rates were good. Food costs were good. Cost of living was good. No wars. My money was good. I don't know about you guys. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Was it better when Trump was in office?
I think the big mistake that Kamala Harris made is she didn't address head on the biggest issue in the race, which is the economy, the cost of living. She had nothing to say on immigration. She had no answer when she was asked about defunding the police. She had nothing to say about the families that were lost in Afghanistan. So I think those are opportunities lost. I do think that the President Trump anyway, closed very well when he said, look, you work in the White House every day and you talk about the things that you want to do. Why don't you do the things now that you work in the White House? And so I thought that was a strong ending.
This moment really highlighted to me the type of gaslighting that Kamala Harris has been doing her entire campaign and her entire career.
Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country, one who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page.
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President Trump, we have to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She
please.
has a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's
you,
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Linsey,
to
go ahead.
respond
President
because
Trump,
the
President
former
Trump.
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry. We're
I just
gonna
need to
move on,
respond
Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time run.
And that is the moment that shoulder pads and Dave lost control of the moderation. By the way, this is actually the face I make when I go to the grocery store and I look at prices for eggs, bacon, and milk. In my personal opinion, Donald Trump absolutely crushed it with his closing statement for the debate.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
Immediately after the debate, the Harris and Walz team are requesting a rematch. They're asking for another debate. In a UFC fight or a boxing fight for the championship, you only ask for a rematch when you lose. So this is showing that the Harris and Walz campaign are absolutely panicking. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think about the debate. Let me know what you think about the recap. Drop your comments down below. Smash the like button, share, subscribe, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.